Welcome to Developer Service YouTube channel. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about how you can save hours managing Ghost platform with these Python scripts. As you can see, I manage the developer service.blog, and that is built on the Ghost platform. But there is several things about the Ghost platform that are tricky or difficult to do. Things like recategorizing posts in bulk, or quickly searching posts by title. Especially the categorizing posts in bulk, it's very difficult or impossible to do in the Ghost. So I've created a couple of scripts that will help you save hours by managing your posts and the visibility of your posts with these Python scripts. So let's take a look on how that is built. Before we dig into the code, let's talk about the three scripts. There is one script to update the posts to be in a paid membership, which is this one that we are seeing. There is another script to update posts that is part of a membership, and there is a script to be able to search for posts and get an edit link for that particular post. All the three posts follow the same logic. We have the imports. We have setting up basic logging. We're loading the environmental variables for the API key and for the URL for the Ghost API. And then we are generating the Ghost token. This generates the GWT token that is necessary for the Ghost admin API authentication. So we get that API authentication from that API from the environmental variables. We split the ID and the secret, which is part of the API key. We parse the header and the payload. And then finally, we create the token by doing a GWT encode with all the necessary parameters as specified in the Ghost documentation. We have a helper function that returns the Ghost API URL that just returns the URL that is from the environmental variable. And then for this script itself, we are be updating the non-paid posts from the previous year to the paid status. So it will retrieve all the posts that are not paid and were published before the current year. It will update each post's visibility to be paid and maintains the post updated at timestamp to prevent any conflicts. So we start by getting, of course, the necessary API token and API URL. We set up the proper headers, passing the authorization and the content type. We calculate the start of the current year, so that with the date time now in the year. Then we get the posts from the previous year that are not paid, and we are calling the Ghost API for this. So the Ghost API receives, of course, different type of parameters. One of them is limit. In this case, we're retrieving all the posts without any pagination. And we are filtering the posts because we only want to retrieve posts that are from the previous year. The Ghost API allows to specify different type of filters separated by colon. In this case, we are interested in the visibility, and we want the posts that are not paid. So then we have a minus, and minus in this case represents not. So this is visibility not paid. And additionally, we want another filter with the plus sign that the publish at the date is smaller than the start of the current year. So on posts from the previous year. So again, the filter, visibility not paid, published at before the current year. That's how the filters work in the Ghost API. You have the filter, you have the colon as a separator, and then we have the search criteria. So we do the request get with this, and we of course get our response, which is in JSON, and inside the posts key, there is all the posts that we want. Then of course we are going to be iterating over each of the posts. For each of the posts, we are going to be getting the latest version of the post, so we ensure that we have the correct updated at date. So again, we're setting up the URL for the post for the Ghost admin API. We're getting with the get request, we're getting that post and the information for that post, since it still returns a list because you can request more than one post. So the first item of the list is the post that we are getting. Then we create an update for the post. Again, the API URL for the proper update, and it receives the update data. And we're passing in for the post information, which is the list, but we are only passing one post. We need to pass, of course, the post ID, and we want to change the visibility. So we're passing visibility to paid, which is what we want to change to, and we are keeping the current updated update. And we do a put request with the URL, the headers, and the update data that we just fill in before. And that will update that particular post in the Ghost API. And we keep a small update counter for how many posts we have updated. And of course, we deal with the different exceptions that are there. Then we have our main execution. We are making sure that we get all the required environmental variables, and if any of them are missing, there's an explanation how to fill it in into the environmental variable file, and then we just call the function that we saw before, and that executes the script. So the update post member is a very simple principle. We're setting up our locker, we're loading our environmental variables, we're getting the Ghost API token, we get the Ghost API URL, and then we have our main function. And this function updates the public posts from the current year to a member-only status. So it will retrieve all public posts that are published in the current year. It will update that post visibility, each of them, to be members, and maintains, of course, as before, the updated at the timestamp to prevent any conflicts. So again, we have the same. We get the API shell. We set up the headers. In this case, we are setting up the current year, not the previous year as in the previous script, but this script uses the current year. We're getting the requests with the request get as we did before. Still the same limit, so we're getting all the posts without pagination. And in the filter now, we have a different filter because we want the visibility in all the posts that are public. And the publish update in this case is greater or equal than the start of the current year, so that we get all the posts that belong to the current year. And again, we're iterating each of the posts, getting the current post information, setting up the update data, again the post ID, changing the visibility to members, and we keep the update that data. And we do the put request with that new update data. And again, we're keeping count of how many changes we've done. And again, the main function, loading the necessary environmental variables, explaining if they're missing, and calling our main script. And finally, we have the post search script, which allows to use the Ghost API to perform search of the post. In the Ghost UI, unless you are an admin user, you cannot search for the post. So this allows for non-admin users to also search for posts. So again, we set up the login, load the environmental variables, get the token, get the API URL, and we get also an edit URL because we are going to be returning a URL that you can paste on the browser that you can immediately go to edit of that post, and it just sets up the proper URL path for that with the post editor, the post, and the post ID. And then we finally have the main function that searches for the post. So this function searches for posts in Ghost that match the given search term in their title. So search for the post which title contains that search term, displays detailed information about each matching post, and provides both public URL and admin URL for each of the posts. And of course receives a search term and returns a list of the posts. Similar to as before, we get API token, API URL, set up the headers. We do a get request with the parameters. Still we're getting without pagination, and we're doing the filter. In this case, we are doing a different type of filter. We're saying that the title contains, and the title here means contains a search term, and that search term it's a string, so it needs to be inside the quotes so that the search works correctly. So again, we're filtering the title, and it can contain the search term that is a string. So again, we get that request, and then if we have posts that are being returned, we are just outputting that content. We're getting the edit URL, and then we're just printing the title when it is published, the status, the visibility, the URL, and then also the edit URL. So the URL of the post itself, which would the view the post, and we also return the edit URL to immediately edit the post. And if I run this script and I search for an instance for if I in the correct window, if I search for Ginger 2 and I expand this a bit, you can see it has performed the search. It found the two posts that contain Ginger 2 in my blog. One of them is how to build dynamic front ends with fast API and Ginger. So I have the date that is published, the current status, the visibility that is now members, the URL where you can see the post, and also the edit URL. And I have another one with creating web application for podcast search using fast API, Ginger 2, and podcastindex.org. In the information here, the URL to view the post, and the edit URL. And that is how you can save several hours with these three scripts, especially for the bulk editing, because as you can see in the Ghost admin interface, there is a post here, but I have no bulk possibility of choosing the post. So if I want to, for instance, change the access, like we were showing in the scripts, I need to open each post one by one, which is very difficult. But using the scripts that I just showed you, it allows to perform a lot of bulk actions, and you can change that to be a completely different thing from the visibility. Can be unpublished, can be featured, can be unfeatured. can be adding a tag to those posts. So a lot of possibilities are open with the Ghost admin API. I'll leave a link video description for the docs and for also the blog post. Like if you like this content, subscribe for more content about Python, Django, and AI. And until next time, happy coding!